Hello and welcome to the 2022 Monroe County Library System's Writers on the River. This event has been taking place for a while. We'll find out how long here in 1 second. And I am excited to be able to video and record this event this year for posterity. And with me today is Miss Jackie. Because I have already forgotten your last name. So, folks, she just got married, what, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So I know she has a new name, and I'm not going to screw it up. What's your last name now?
Crisillo.
Crisillo, that's right. I should have remembered it, but, you know, I'm old, so I didn't. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. We got all our authors here, and I'm feeling good and ready to interact with the public.
What? How long has the library been doing Writers on the River?
We've been doing it since the late 90s. We took a little bit of break for COVID, like a lot of people, but we're glad to bring it back this year for 2022.
Now, this is the first year you've actually been in charge of it, isn't it?
Yes. Before, the late Bill Reiser was in charge of it, and then before him, Bernie Smith was actually in charge of it. So I'm joining a long line of people that have done a great job with it, and hopefully it goes well. Well,
I'll tell you what, you've done an excellent job so far with this event. It's been wonderful, and I'm glad to see it back. What made you want to be to run this? What made you want to be in charge?
I think a lot of it was from being a kid, and my mom used to help at the other Writers on the River events, and I grew up and started working here, and now I wanted to do it. So
let me ask you this. How many people does it take to put something like this on every year?
It takes an entire group effort. I'm very grateful to my committee for helping me put this together. I think all in all, it was about 10 different people, including all of the wonderful staff from the Monroe County Library System and help from all around.
I know you've got some wonderful food that you've got for the writers as well. Can you tell me some of the people, the local businesses here that helped with this?
Yeah, we wanted to reach out and do local Monroe businesses. So I've got cookies from Cakes by Stephanie. We got stuff from Highlight Fresh Market, Agua Dulce Coffee Shop and Tea Room, and the Mitten Cafe out in Newport. And I'm super glad to be able to support small local businesses.
And you plan on doing it again next year?
Yep, we're going to do it again next year, and hopefully bigger, and let it evolve as it comes.
And now, for those who don't know, and if they missed this year and they're watching this, something to keep in mind next year, you also have, on top of all these amazing writers that are gathered here, we have a raffle every year, don't we?
It's taken a few different forms. This year we have a drawing just for anybody who comes in, and some prizes donated from our lovely friends groups from around Monroe County. And every year we're going to try to do that too.
Excellent. Well, I thank you very much. I know you're wanting to get back to everybody here, but I think I can speak on behalf of the entire library system when we say we appreciate you for doing this. Thank you very much.
And thank you.
And we're here on the Writers on the River with Myra G Love, who has written Davy's Panda?
Davy Panda Christian Children's Book Series.
Excellent. Now, when did this series come out?
3 years ago.
Very nice. Is this your first book then that you've written? Are you planning on writing any more?
Well, I'm on book number 4, and it will be finished after I'm done with the pictures. I have to paint them.
Okay, so you do your own art as well?
Yes.
Wow, that is awesome. What made you want to write, and in particular this series?
Well, I have fetal alcohol syndrome, dyslexia, learning disabilities, and upon looking for jobs, when I get them, I can't keep them because it's hard keeping up and it's hard understanding. So I went to church, and the pastor said, if you can't get a job or keep one, then create your own. And so that's how I created the series.
That's excellent. Now, Writers on the River is for us local artists, or writers, not us, you local artists, writers. Where do you hail from?
I'm from Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, you're a Buckeye.
Yes. Yes. Woo.
Yeah, go Buckeyes. Well, that's great. Is this your first time here?
This is my second time. I was here a couple of years ago.
Well, we appreciate you having you back. Is there anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Yes, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time. Nice to meet you too. And we're here and want to welcome Joyce Harvey to the Writers on the River. Good morning, Joyce.
Good morning. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Now, what kind of books do you write?
I write nonfiction. I've written a memoir. I've written a book that's similar to Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's called Open to the Moment, 25 Heartwarming Travel Tales. And it's about people I met while I was traveling and the stories they shared with me. Little bits of life they shared with me. Very heartwarming. Get your Kleenex ready when you read it. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And how long have you been doing this?
Oh, I've been writing all my life, but I decided finally to get some things published. So I published 2 this past year. I didn't publish, they're not self-published, they're published by Reed Publishing. And then the other one of them I published, several years ago. It's called I'm Fine, I'm with the Angels. And it's a book to help explain grief to children. It lets them know that the spirit lives on. It's just the body that dies, and it's a beautiful little book.
It sounds like it.
The beautiful parts are illustrated, but the parts that are sad are not illustrated. But it helps children understand a little bit more about grief. It's called I'm Fine, I'm with the Angels.
So it's more for the children.
Children, but I think even adults would,
absolutely.
Get something out of that.
Absolutely.
And then another one I wrote is called How Do You Grow a New Heart, and that is for grief also. It's just a small little book that acknowledges the pain of grief, and that it would be easier to get a new heart, but we have to live with the heart we have, and then how do we go forward with our grief?
Well, that's beautiful. It sounds like you just have an amazing soul, and you just want to share that with everyone.
Thank you.
Now, the Writers on the River is local writers. So where do you hail from?
I hail from Temperance, Michigan.
Oh, right down the road from us, Temperance, Michigan, folks. Okay.
Yes.
And you said you've been doing this your whole life now. Have you done anything else other than writing?
I also wrote a memoir. Oh, I want to mention the memoir I wrote called Swan Lessons. I had one child. She entered the Marine Corps. Unfortunately, she died on active duty. So,
oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, and it changes your life forever. So I wrote a memoir called Swan Lessons, and the swan symbol is very important to me in the book, and so that is about her struggles with the Marine Corps and my struggles with her
dealing
with her loss. Yeah.
Sure.
Do I do anything else? I
I've-
volunteer at the Bedford Library in their bookstore.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I'm a
all right.
bibliophile.
All right.
I've got to be around books.
I 100%
Yeah.
understand. I
Yeah.
do. Well, I thank you very, very much
Oh,
for
you're welcome.
taking some time out to talk to us.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We are here with Claire Walker. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. Now, what kind of books do you write?
I write romantic suspense,
Oh, okay.
all the fun stuff.
And how long have you been writing these?
I published the first one in 2013, so almost 10 years.
Wow, that's great. Now, most of the writers, all the writers here they're local writers. So where do you hail from?
Grosse Pointe.
Grosse Pointe. Okay, and I actually did see in your booth that you do have one of your titles says Grosse Pointe on it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so do you keep those books pretty much into a local area, when you're writing, or?
No, actually, Grosse Pointe's the only one that was in the local area. The rest of them primarily take place in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So.
Are you familiar with Florida? Do you spend time down there, or you just decided that?
No, I spend quite a bit of time there. I usually go there once or twice a year. So
Okay,
it's my
all right.
happy spot.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Super. And what made you want to write these suspense?
Well, it kind of combines my love of romance with my love of mystery and thrillers, and Yeah, it
And you just
seemed like
decided that was it. You were gonna do it.
Yeah, I find it very entertaining.
Now, did you write your whole life and just finally decide to publish, or was this something later in your life that you said, no, I want to try this?
I've been writing since I was basically 9. So
Okay.
I used to start off with little short stories and usually little mysteries, sort of like Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew type things. And
Right.
And then it just kind of, as I got older, I liked the romance too. And
Sure.
then we just combined them and
Well,
here we
great.
are.
Well, super. Well, I thank you very much for coming, and we all appreciate it very much. Okay, we are here now with Christine Yari, who has written books such as Private Love and Public School Gay Teachers Under Fire. Welcome, and how are you doing today?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Now, have you been writing your whole life, or is this something
no,
later?
not to be published, but I have been. My primary work has been as an attorney, and I teach as an adjunct professor, LGBT law course.
Okay, so you were an attorney first. Oh, well, that's amazing. Here in Michigan?
Michigan, yeah, West Michigan,
West Michigan. Yeah, where do you hail from?
Grand Rapids.
That's very interesting to me. But okay, yeah, Grand Rapids. Okay. I have to ask you. Go ahead, sir. It's okay. I have to ask you. What made you want to write Public School Gay Teachers Under Fire?
Yeah, so Jerry Crane's story happened in the mid-'90s, and I was involved on our local board for LGBT community organization. So we were a part of the story, and I got to know Jerry Crane because of the story. And this happened mid-'90s, and I've always thought this is a story that has to be told and documented.
Now, obviously, I haven't read it, and I apologize for that. But when was that book published?
2021.
Okay, so it is recent, which
Yes.
I appreciate, because I think you are right that they're under fire just as much now as, if not more.
Absolutely, yeah.
I thank you for that. What made you, I guess, want to get into writing in the first place?
Well, I've always enjoyed writing, and I've done more throughout my career, more professional writing as an attorney, as a professor, and I've always wanted to write nonfiction books.
Okay, well, I thank you very much for, we all thank you for coming, and you have a wonderful day. Thank you much for your support as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And welcome back. We are here with Kimberly Paulson, author of Byline and Sony Silver Mysteries. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I am very good, thank you.
Now, obviously, the books that you write, it sounds like, are mystery books. Is that the genre that you love the most?
Oh, absolutely. I've been reading mysteries my entire life.
When did you start writing?
You know, I've always been a writer. I think ever since I was a child, I loved writing. But as an attorney, I wrote basically nonfiction. Everything I wrote was legal, whether it be articles, of course, legal writing in terms of briefs and motions.
Sure.
But I just loved mysteries so much, and I had an idea, and I was inspired by the people I was working with at the time, and I said, time to give this a try.
Now, what kind of law did you practice?
Litigation.
Oh, okay. So, but it still probably helped you, didn't it, in your mysteries when it came to what the law was, if there were any court scenes. Do you use court scenes at all in your books?
I do use court scenes. I try to present a very accurate depiction of the law. And I guess maybe what you're asking about is what I said. I was inspired by the work I did.
Right.
It wasn't just the litigation. I spent 6.5 years as pro bono counsel.
Okay.
At a large law firm in Detroit, and I ran the pro bono program. And through that, I ran free legal clinics. I was at the soup kitchens and the community centers to serve the absolute poorest among us. And I learned so much about what they go through on a daily basis and how they're neglected by the law, basically. And so my book the book I have out right now is the first one in the Sony Silver series, Byline.
Okay.
And although it is fiction and it's a fun page-turner kind of mystery. There are some important social themes in there about really the inequities in our legal system and the way, in this case, the accused is a homeless man, and the way that they're treated differently.
Absolutely,
in our society.
Sure,
So.
sure. That sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to have to pick that book up. Now, of course, Writers on the River here in Monroe are all local talent. So where do you hail from?
Farmington Hills.
Oh, Farmington Hills. So you had a bit of a drive.
Not too bad. Less
Not
than
too
an
bad.
hour.
Oh, is it just less than an hour?
It
Okay. I'm probably thinking somewhere even farther than Troy, maybe.
That's much further.
Yeah, that's much further. Well, I thank you very much for coming and joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And we're back with Keith Julius, who has written books like a thriller like Remorse by Degree, as well as 3 volumes in the CASA Chronicle series. What exactly is that?
CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. They're people that work in juvenile court to represent children in cases of child neglect, child abuse. I've been doing that for 8 years as a volunteer. A lot of times, when you're a writer, they say, well, write what you know. Well, my life's not that interesting, but some of the things I was learning, some of the stories I was seeing, it inspired me to write about. So my books are fiction, but they're based heavily in reality of what some of the families have to deal with.
Well, sure, and I'm sure you've seen a lot. I know I worked in the court system as well, in family court, and it's not easy to go to work there.
No, it isn't.
Yeah. Now tell me about your thriller. Now, is this a newer book or?
That was actually the first book. All my books are self-published. Remorse by Degree was my first one. Was a thriller, and it was more of the typical stuff that I used to read all the time, and. As I got, I'm happy with the book. I think it's a good book, but I felt like it was less, more typical. Whereas my CASA books, I feel a little bit more realistic, a little bit more speak to people on a more personal level.
That's great. That sounds great. Now, of course, local writer. So where are you from?
I'm down in Temperance, Michigan.
Okay.
I'm originally from Erie, Pennsylvania, but I moved up here about 40 years ago now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't miss Erie?
Oh yeah, we get back there once in a while. Some of our family's still back there, but people move around so much anymore that.
Yeah. Now, is it true? I got to ask you because I've known people from Erie, and they say the winters are probably some of the worst because you're right there on the water.
Yes, it is. People up in this area complain about the winters. Winters are nothing up here.
Nothing like Erie.
Yeah,
that whole area.
That whole snow belt area.
Well, I thank you very much. We thank you for coming today and participating with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
And we're back this time with Mr. Ken McGregor, who I actually have to say I've known for many, many years. And if you've watched our show, Monroe County Library's Showcase, you have seen him. I have interviewed him before. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well, thanks.
Good. Tell us now about some of the books you write, because I have a feeling I'm about to divert into a whole different field.
I mostly write horror, and so it's pretty dark, but I also mix a lot of humor in it because I did sketch comedy for like 5 years, and I mix humor with everything. So it's dark, but also funny.
Dark humor is always fun, in my opinion. Yeah. Now, again, local writers, where do you hail from?
I'm in Ypsilanti, Michigan, so about 40 minutes from here.
Okay, yeah, not very far. What made you, now, have you written your whole life?
Making stuff up my whole life, but I've only been getting published for 11 years.
11 years now. Boy, doesn't seem like it's been that long.
It doesn't. But it's I've got 7 books that I am responsible for in 11 years, so that's pretty decent.
What are some of the books?
My first book was called An Aberrant Mind because it's a mix of weird stories that came out of my brain. Mm-hmm. And then my second book, I'm not sure if I can say it on the air. It's
you can say it.
Sex, Score, and Millipedes.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the stuff I don't want my mother to know I wrote. I have a co-authored novel called Headcase. And my latest story collection is called Lions, Tigers, and Wares. Mm-hmm. And that's all my animal stories. It's really, really cool. And I have 2 anthologies that I edited. One of them is called Burt Fur, and the other one's called Stitched Lips. And Stitched Lips actually just got nominated for Shirley Jackson Award.
Wow, congratulations. That's super. Now, I also know that you have, I believe you have a young adult that you wrote.
Oh, yeah, a novella called Devil's Bane. I can't believe I forgot that. Yes, that's correct.
Because that's one I've read, and I'm hoping you're still thinking about doing a follow-up to that.
I've written about 100 pages of it, and I kind of lost the thread of the story, and I'll get back to it eventually, I hope.
Yeah, I do a little writing myself, and I know how it is. It's like you have to stop for a while and put that away, right?
I have so many projects that are like half finished or 1/4 finished or 3/4 finished, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to them, but I'm hopeful.
Yep. All right. Yeah, great. Now, is that all you do full time, or do you
No. Actually, I work for the Ypsilanti District Library, driving the bookmobile.
Nice. Good shout out to libraries, Ypsilanti Library, and bookmobiles as well. Those are very important.
Yes, they are.
Well, I thank you very much for joining us today, sir, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. And we are here now with Rick Grassley, a genealogist, researcher, and local historian representing the Genealogical Society of Monroe County. How are you today, sir?
I am fine. And you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. Oh, somebody asked me. Now, I assume you've lived your whole life here in Monroe?
All except for 2 years.
Okay.
I've belonged to the Genealogy Society for about 30 years.
Wow.
On and off. Raising kids, I got away from it a little bit, but I'm back now. So I'm actually wearing 2 hats today. One, I write articles for the newspaper, for the Genealogy Society, the Monroe County Museum and Historical Society, and I've been published in the Michigan Genealogical Council magazine.
Oh, wow.
But I'm also representing the Genealogy Society and all the books that they have.
Okay, so you've written articles and that you haven't really written any...
No books.
No books. Are you thinking about writing a book?
Maybe there'll be a compilation of all these at some point.
I like that. And again, I've been asking everybody what part of they're from, but you're right here from good old Monroe. Michigan. Yeah. Now, what made you originally interested in genealogy?
As my grandparents and other relatives were getting older, I was afraid we were going to lose all those stories about their parents and grandparents and the family in general. And so I just started asking lots of questions. And I made my grandfather get out all his old pictures and write names on the backs of them because nobody was going to know him after he was gone.
Right.
And from there, it was just a sort of gradual progression into going to the meeting at the for the Genealogy Society and seeing what they did, and then I liked it, and within a couple of years I was actually president.
Wow. That's great.
But yeah, we have a fluctuating membership around 100. We have monthly meetings out at the college, the first Saturday of every month, unless it's a holiday. We've published over 200 books of records and indexes, all related to Monroe County. So anybody that's out there and has relatives in the county, they'd be sure to look us up, and they'll be in there, I'm sure.
Wow. What's the most, while researching other people's, what's the most surprising? Is there any story you can tell me where you went, oh, I don't know if I want to tell them that?
Oh, there's unsolved murders.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So that's probably one of the biggest ones. In fact, I just got an idea for a new story about a murder that happened in Carleton in 1894. And there wasn't a trial until 1898, and the person was acquitted. And so that's an unsolved murder.
Wow. Wow,
so that's a story that'll be coming out.
Yeah, it sounds like that's very interesting. Like you really can hit some real nuggets and all that. Yeah. Well, I thank you very, very much, sir, for coming here and participating and taking a moment to talk. Okay. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.